I caught the first ever performance of Paranormal Activity live on Broadway. Let me tell you what you need to know before going. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet. Hit the sub, we're on the road to 10K. So if you've not heard, the Paranormal Activity franchise has transcended the big screen and made its way to the stage for a live theatrical production. Having debuted on London's West End in 2024, it had short runs in Chicago, LA, and Boston in 2025 before hitting the bright lights of Broadway in August of 2026. So before we get into the thick of it, I want to answer the three most important questions that you're probably asking. First and most commonly asked, no, Paranormal Activity is not a musical. Though they are less popular and less associated with the Broadway expectations, regular plays regularly play on Broadway as well. This is a serious take on the material, and it is intent on scaring you. Second, no, you do not have to have seen any of the film series to understand the stage production of Paranormal Activity. This is an original story, and as far as I can tell, they didn't even make reference to the established lore. Could this have been written as a generic horror stage show acquired and just retitled Paranormal Activity? Yeah, that's how loosely connected it is. And third, if you do not like the Paranormal Activity film series, do not immediately write this play off. Having seen the entirety of the film series myself, I can state that I do not like a single one of those movies, and I was rather impressed with the stage production. Let's talk about why. And since the theater traditionalists came at me for talking about The Lost Boys before opening night, let's preface this by clarifying. The show is currently in previews, meaning some things may still change. Opening night is August 25th, at which point the show will be frozen and open for critique. I paid the same amount as anybody seeing it 3 weeks from now. They were recording fan reactions for their socials based on the show. I am not a professional critic, and this has played with some of the same actors in different cities already. Good. Now that they're gone, let's you and me have a real spoiler-free chat about Paranormal Activity. So much like the movie, Paranormal Activity follows a young couple, Travis Knight playing James and Cher Alvarez playing Lou. They've just settled into their new house, having moved to London from Chicago for a fresh start, and as you would assume, given the series, they are not alone in their new house. So there are only 4 characters in Paranormal Activity: Lou, James, James's mother, and a medium. And those last 2 are not big roles. The small cast allows us to spend time with the characters, which is good for connecting with the audience because when they get put through hell, it's not some ancillary offstage character that we've connected with being terrorized. It's people we like, people we've assimilated with. And all 4 actors show up and do exceptional work with what they have, but I personally wish that they had more to work with. I don't think they'll be picking up any Tony nominations, let alone awards, but I don't think that that's a testament about their talent or their work as much as it is about the material they're presenting and what they're given to do. The entirety of the narrative plays out over somewhere between 8 to 10 scenes. It actually reminded me of Scenes from a Marriage, except that it was not entirely concerned with its characters. Much like how Katie and Mika were happy in the original film and the entity begins to cause conflict, similar happens for Lou and James. Also similar to the original film, it's clear that the passion lies heavier in the scares that each scene culminates in versus wanting to tell a character-driven story. The result is some incredible scares that are held together by an okay narrative with passable dialogue. And let me be clear, that's not a slight. I got chills several times watching this in a way that I never have in watching the films. It's very effective. The audience in unison was gasping and oohing as scares happened, and then roaring into applause as the moody music hit and the lights dropped to set the next scene. They are 100% successful in objective. I just wish that they had more objectives than just to scare you. So So let's talk staging, and this may be the most important thing that you get from this video, so stick around if you've made it this far. Paranormal Activity takes place on a single unchanging set, which is essentially a 2-story house with one wall removed so that we can peer in. The lower level has a kitchen and a living room, and a staircase connects it to the upper level, which has a bedroom, a bathroom, and the doorway to an intended eventual nursery. The show takes place on both levels. And that's an important factor because where I thought sitting towards the back would give me a better whole house view, sitting in row W made this balcony an unavoidable obstruction for the duration of the show. Now, roughly 80% of the show is on the ground level, so it doesn't always matter, but this is roughly the floor line for the upper level. And as you'd assume, things aren't always fully in perspective as a result of that. It doesn't always matter, but there's an extended segment in the bedroom where Lou and James are laying in bed. And this rig, combined with the balcony, made our perspective of that scene moving sheets and voices. While I can let that go, there is a scare that takes place in the bedroom that my experience of it was hearing other people react to it. I have no idea what happened. These seats were not marked as obstructed view seats, and that fucking sucks. I could say without an ounce of entitlement that that is totally unfair. They are still not marked as obstructed view. So buyer beware, you should be fine anywhere in the mezzanine. As for the lower level, I would not sit anywhere behind row Q in the orchestra. If you're sitting orchestra left, I would take seats 1, 3, or 5, which border the center aisle. I would not go anywhere beyond 5. Your view of the bedroom will be obstructed. Orchestra right likely does not follow the same issues. As for the rest of the production, the score is faint, dark, and moody, building and amplifying at the right times and crashing and jolting to announce scares have arrived and holding you in them. They're accented by 90s to early 2000s alt-rock songs like Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun and Radiohead's Just, and it kind of announces that the show sees itself as the cool, angsty alternative to traditional Broadway. The lighting is exceptional, specifically a scene where they lose power felt so much like a blackout. I actually felt that between the tactful lighting, solid acting, the paranormally troubled couple, and the lack of signature grainy look of the Paranormal Activity series, that this felt closer to the world of Obsession than the world of Paranormal Activity. There's a 15-minute intermission roughly an hour into the show, and the post-intermission is like 45 minutes. I personally don't think that there was a need for intermission, but it did give me a chance to get the signature drink, the Seance, which was gin, Marquis de Sade, blue curacao, lemon sour, elderflower syrup, pea flower powder, and edible glitter. So it's super blue, and I guess that the glitter makes it staticky, so it has that Paranormal Activity look to it. How did it taste? Of course, the gin overpowered everything, and there was some citrus on the back end. It was fine, but I'd definitely try one of the other options were I to go again. There's also a slew of admittedly very well done merch that any horror fan could wear proudly. It looks nothing like traditional theater swag. It's closer to something that you would get from Fright Rags or Gutter Garbs. But there was nothing that I personally needed. They gave us these special Paranormal Activity keychain flashlights for being at the first performance. You see, it is actually branded there on the thing. And between this, my booze cup, and the playbill, that's good enough for me for collectibles. So the big question is, do you need to see Paranormal Activity on Broadway? Well, given the elaborate set piece of it alone, this is a hard show to pull off. Your best regional theater isn't likely going to build out a second floor even for a month-long engagement of a show. The haunting aspects are also very easy to mess up, and they already have it down to a science. There have been other horror plays to hit Broadway. I have never seen one that is this effective or this scary before. It is going to absolutely slay at the Halloween season if it finds its audience. I think if you're a fan of the franchise, you should do what you can to see it. It fulfills the basic rules and structure of those films while still being entirely its own thing. Now, if you're not a fan of the franchise, which I am not, I still think that there is plenty that you can enjoy from it because those gripes of non-existent plot, ugly cinematography, and bad acting are not issues here. It leaves you to sink into and experience the horror of the series in a way that you likely haven't before. It is far and away the best thing that this series has ever produced, in my opinion. And I would not be surprised if I found myself going back to it again. Additionally, your support of shows like this are your vote for the next one to get greenlit, so even if you're just a little bit curious, I honestly do think it's worth your time. You could skip it, but it may just haunt you. So that's what I thought of Paranormal Activity on Broadway, but what do you think? Did you see it? Are you planning on doing so? Let me know in the comments. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See it yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support horror.